Hello everyone, hope you have a good day so far. I'm going to talk about AI inside Power BI and actually how we can use it as in the BI and we can actually get inside about that. Just a minute. Okay, so yeah, please silent your phone. I'm also make sure that I'm silenced. Yep. So, and also just explore the past. They are provide lots of interesting material and also lots of free online, free conferences, and webinars. So make sure to definitely check their website. Okay, so let us start. I'm Leila, AI and Microsoft Data Platform MVP. And based in Auckland, New Zealand, a bit far from here. I'm actually working in Radhakat. How many of you know Radhakat or CR blog post? So I, Reza, and a couple of other people actually, we do Power BI, AI, and lots of material in YouTube, in our blog posts, and also kind of doing training and in different countries. Also, we write books. So if you go to our website, you will see there are a couple of different books that are available there for Power BI and also for the AI. So for example, one of them is about using R inside Python. That is this one actually. That I wrote it about 2016. It was collection of my blog posts about how to use R inside Power BI. So it's not officially a book, kind of. It's not published by a publisher, but it's collection of the books and it's available. Or another one, again, was books that I wrote for Azure ML. So these are the Azure ML actually blog posts I wrote, and I collect them as a book. So all of them are 100, 200 pages, and they are free available to download. So maybe you asked me that was that actually on the top. That's an add-on for Microsoft Translate. Is actually helped me to translate what I'm saying. I have accent, of course, so it's actually helped me for the people that understand better me. It's not just English. For example, you want to use it in other language, Dutch, French, and the other, you can talk English, and it's translate online for you in other language. So if you have lots of, want to present something anywhere, you can actually use it. I have an experience presenting in South Korea, and I remember there was a room that actually translator was there, but if I don't have that much slides, if I have lots of slides, that's a really good. But if you do lots of demos, sometimes maybe it's not really good because it's just available for the PowerPoint. So this session is part of the, I'll just mute it for now and just stop the slide title. This is part of the past pathway, AI pathway. So there are really interesting sessions done by my colleagues, Melody, Anna, Anu, and we trying to see how we can use AI from different perspectives. I'm the person responsible for showing the AI for BI and analysts. So this session is about AI for BI people, and another one that is tomorrow is about AI for analysts, people who don't want to go that much to the code and use most visualization and the others. So these are the part of that. If you didn't attend the previous sessions, they will be recorded, so I recommend to go and check them out. Okay, so let us start. So I'm going through the different parts of the applying AI and machine learning in Power BI. So first we're going to introduction that what is AI and ML. I'm sure that many of you maybe know about that, but still I'm going through some topic about that. Going to actually show you for the Power BI how to get the insight and the other options. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is about these three terms. So you see these three terms a lot: AI, machine learning, and deep learning. These are the relationship between them. So AI is to any system that's actually able to sense able to interpret or reason what's happened in the world and then act based on that and create a new response based on what happened. So it can be anything, can be a robot, can be an expert system, can be a sensor. So anything that has this specification is AI. So AI is a really general term for machine learning and deep learning. After that, we have machine learning. So machine learning is about learning from data, find a pattern in a data, and then from that pattern, you're able maybe use that pattern, find some rules from your data, and then or predict what will be happen. For example, you have for example, cafe, and we sell it coffee there. We want to know that what sort of customer we have, and we want to learn from the sales that we have in weekdays, in weekends. What's happened? How should I do my strategy? Should I prepare for something or not? So I'm creating a machine learning model, first to create a model to find what is happening there, and then based on that, I'm going to use it for that model for prediction. So this is all about that. This is like a child that actually we teach them, we show them different scenarios, and then actually from that they start to learn. So for the Power BI, so I'm using BI actually as a Power BI because that's really popular now. Of course, SSIS and the other one are so popular, but this is mainly focused on the BI tools that we're talking. So you can do AI inside Power BI for the case of in the stage of ETL process and also visualization process a lot. So these are the options that we have. I just summarized them from using the cognitive services that I'm going through that today, using some code from your data science people. They have some code, they are happy about them and they want to consume them. You will see that. Or yourself going to use some tools like Azure ML and you want to consume inside Power BI. So we are going to look at how's that possible. This is the chart that actually I will zoom it and you will see that each part of that is a big one. This is all the different possibility of the AI inside Power BI for the different roles, for analysts, for BI developer, and for data scientists. So because actually I'm just going to overview of that, let me go to show you first the Power BI one. Then lots of kind of common and overlap between all of them. So for the people who are BI people, they do lots of visualization, they create visual from their data, they do lots of data transformation, getting the data from resources, applying lots of transformation on the data, and then actually it can be in Power BI desktop or it can be data flow. So these things that you see that actually I didn't include some of them are the features that we have and we can use AI and machine learning through them. I'm just going a bit zoom it so you can see better. For example, for the case of visualization, we have different options. We can use R and Python visual. Power BI has a great repository of the visualization in Marketplace, in a standard Power BI desktop, but in some scenario, you want to create your own. For example, we don't have normal distribution still there, or there are some charts that you want to create that's specifically related to the Power BI, like to the AI, like decision tree or market basket analysis. You want to create your own chart that is for machine learning. So you can use R and Python code through that. Another one is some of the visual, like that today I don't talk about it, it's mainly for tomorrow. It is key influencer and also Q&A visual. So these are the visual that actually Power BI people can use that, but these are specifically for the analyst people. But again, if you wish, you can use them. You can create custom visual, is a bit different from visual, so it's a custom visual with R and the other. So these are the available options for visualization. About data transformation or Power Query. So in Power BI, data transformation, mainly we know it as a Power Query in Power BI desktop or data flow in Power BI service. So for the Power Query, as you can see, we can consume cognitive services, How many of you know cognitive services or see a demo on that? Okay, so I will talk about that. Cognitive services is a pre-built tools that Microsoft created, about 25, more than 25 actually, I think, tools there that you can use it without knowing what is happening there. So for example, face recognition, text analytics, I will show some of them here, image tagging. So you can embed that one into the Power Query. So you may ask me that, what is this icon I created here? Oops, sorry. Just try to zoom it. So these means that this is free. These are the sign icon I created myself. They are not official Microsoft. This means that this needs pro account, and the yellow one means they have premium. So I just try to distinguish them. And these signs actually that I created, oops, sorry, means that this one means is coming soon in November. This means they are already available, general available, and this I means they are in preview. So I try to kind of categorize what's the situation and how you can use it. So for example, another one is about calling Azure Machine Learning, create a model there, and then consume it in Power BI desktop. Or we have the same scenario for calling that inside Power, inside the actually data flow. You can do that. So as you see that now we have lots of options that we can do for data, actually applying the machine learning and AI inside Power BI. So as a business intelligence, so we do lots of steps. So we do ETL, we transfer the data, we do lots of data modeling, and we visualize. But for machine learning, we can apply them in ETL process and also in visualization. So I'm going to show you that what machine learning capability we have in the ETL process, that is mainly in Power Query, that we load the data, and also in visualization. So as you see here, let me zoom it. Inside the ETL process, if you are in the Power BI desktop, there is an announcement about yesterday. Actually, in Microsoft Ignite, the team provided was to use the AI transformation in Power BI desktop for premium. So we are going to look at that one. That's one of them we have. Another one is in data flow that's already available for a while. So we are going to look at that one also. And also beside that, we are going to look at some of the visualization capability that we have for the aim of the AI and ML. So I'm going to lots of demos, so this is just a couple of slides. I will share the slide, but let's go through the first, that is how we can do ETL in cloud using data flow. So first of all, I'm going to Power BI desktop, to Power BI service. So this is my Power BI service. You see that there's a diamond here. So this is premium. This is my MVP free account that I'm using for that. I'm going to use a workspace there. How many of you know data flow or heard about data flow? Okay. So as you see, so data flow is actually, in a simple example, is our Power Query in the cloud. To have that one, you should create a new workspace. So you couldn't work in your My Workspace with data flow. You should create a new workspace over there. So I already have one. I'm already created. If you're not, you just simply can create. It's not a very hard thing. So you go here, and you see that now we have a data flow. First of all, I'm going to actually show you a demo that I have for machine learning. So the data that I have, that's a really common data set. Is used for most of the data science demo. I'm going to use that one. That is actually Titanic data set. First showing the data set. I store the data set in my blob storage, but it can be in other resources, Cosmos DB, other SQL, or other places. So this is a preview of what sort of data I have. So as you see, I have passenger ID. I have a column named survive. This is for the Titanic problem, for people who are not familiar with that data set. Is it available? So if you want, you can go. I will put the link of the data set. It's my blob storage, but you can connect to that and work with that. So it's actually talking about people survive or not. So 0 means they are not survive, 1 means they are survive. We are going to predict if we have a specific passenger with age, gender, and passenger class is going to survive or not. So we have some sort of the data here. Okay, so what's happened? I'm going to show you the first approach that I'm going to use there. To doing that, I'm already created a machine learning model, a web service in Azure Machine Learning Studio. So what is Azure Machine Learning Studio? Azure Machine Learning Studio is a drag and drop environment created in 2014. The team that created, actually, many of them work in SSIS team, is not same as that you can download, but so similar, the concept is so similar to that one. So I'm already going here, and I'm already create a model. So this is my model that I'm created there. So it's a really easy to use, easy tools to use. So this is my data set. I create a web service out of that, and the original model was this. So it's my data set. I clean the data. I use the algorithm decision forest, and I train and evaluate, and then I'm create a web service out of that. So this is a web service that I'm created out of that. So it has input and output. So I want to see that how could I actually consume this model with no coding inside Power BI service. Okay, so there's a model already created. The only thing is that I connect my Azure account with my Power BI account into the portal. So they can talk to each other, they know each other. The only thing that I did, I asked our administrator to do that. So now, if I'm going to the Power BI service, and I copy the link here, so I copy the link here, and I'm going to the data flow, create a new flow, and for the data flow, I'm going as a text or CSV file. So I'm waiting, so it's actually bring the resource. Okay. So add a new entity here. And as you see here, at the top, you see that it says Power Query. So that means that same as the Power Query, you have access to many, many different data sources. Even later on, when I'm showing the image tagging to you, you will see that you're able to write a query. So let me see, there is a blank query connector that you can actually do that. So I'm going to the CSV file. I put the URL here, very easy. So just copy the URL. That's a Titanic one. I don't need any connection. So just go to the next step. Next step is just loading in an environment that I can clean the data. And as you see here, so this is my data. For people who didn't work with the Power Data Flow, you see that we have actually most of the things that not most of them, but some of them of the features that we have in Power Query. And we have steps and everything. So there is an icon here. There is an icon here that's responsible for connecting my data flow to cognitive services and also Azure Machine Learning Studio. So that means that my team can create Azure Machine Learning Studio, and in the Azure Machine Learning Studio, Azure Machine Learning services, and then I'm able to consume that model easily here. So let's see that how it works. So I'm going to the AI Insight here. I hope the internet going well. So it's take a couple of minutes, so it's going to actually connect to there. You see that I have two folders here. They are actually function of the M. M is a language for Power Query. They are function of the M that help you to connect to the services that we have. So if you look at here, there is a Azure Machine Learning models. Because I'm already connect my Azure Machine Learning environment to the data flow, now they can talk to each other. And I'm able to see most of the web service that I have there. I just have one because it's costly, so I just have one of them here. As you see, there is a Azure machine learning model. That name is Azure Machine Learning Auto ML BI. I use the Auto ML environment to create that. And this function gets three parameters from me. One is the age, passenger class, and the gender of the people. So what's a deal actually? So you should be careful that the data you load to the Power Query or data flow should be the same format. I mean that in case of the text, numeric or float to here. So if they are like that, it's able to recognize the column itself. Otherwise, it doesn't. You need to make a change the type and back here. So it actually is able to know it. So yep, so I need these three. I apply it. So it's going to connect, get a permission from me, going to connect to the Azure machine learning model that I'm created for predicting people survive and not, and bring me a column, if I browse to the end, that actually is a prediction. You see the result coming from Azure ML, Auto ML, BI. No code. So there is exactly differentiate between what data science team done in Azure ML environment and with the BI people. So now actually I'm able to save this data flow. I can create reports over that, or I can go to the Power BI desktop and connect to my data flow and consume it. That the second one is not necessary anymore from actually last week. So because we already have this feature in Power BI desktop. So this is a very simple one. But imagine that you don't have a data science team, or you don't want to use Azure ML. You want to do the prediction in the cloud. You want to do yourself using an embedded tool through that. So we have also that one. That one is the still sometimes, I try to show that one. Sometimes it's a bit funny, but let's try that. So I just load my data set. I remove the invoke one steps, just back to the normal. Put a name, BI 2019. I'm save and close. So it's going to refresh the data set. There is an option named Automated ML inside Power BI. So what is Automated ML? Automated ML is a new generation of the machine learning. For most of the machine learning scenario, let me put a proper name, 2019, just save it. For most of the machine learning scenario, we have to apply multiple algorithm through that. Let me see that if I put a sample of the picture. Yes. So for example, if I want to do the prediction, I need to apply multiple algorithms at the same time to one data set to find which one is better. It's not just that. I need to do lots of feature selection. Who knows that passenger class impact on the survive? There should be some statistic behind that. I should find a way that tell me that this factor is important and the other one is not. It's not just that. You should be familiar with most of the algorithm behavior. You should know how to set it up. For example, for the clustering algorithm, if you use it, there is a specific chart named elbow chart that you should know how to use it. For KNN algorithm, there is a rule to identify the number. So, and many rules. We are doing BI. We are maybe not possible to actually going to learn all of these, how to set the parameters. So because of that scenario, we have a new tools in Microsoft AI that actually Power BI also using named Automated ML. So behind the scene is Automated ML. I'm just going to show you that how it works in Power BI, and then we will back and have a look at how it's working. So these are actually my data flow. You see that there is another brain symbol here beside my data flow. That is apply ML model. So I'm click on that, add a machine learning model. Here you will see the steps that I can go. So select a field that I want to predict. That is I can look at that. So that's a survive. So I need to find that one. Also, as you see, it's able also to detect the data type of them. So I said, I want to survive. The next step is to choose model, then the data that I think is important and impact on the survive, and then train the model. So I'm going to the next step. Hope it's working. It's a bit today funny. If it's not, I show the actually short video on that. So here is actually based on my data set, based on the data that I have, because I'm saying people survive or not. So it's a two situation. So it's choose binary classification for that. And because my data is not false and true, it's recommend me here to change it. For example, I said 0 means false. That means that they are not survived. 1 means they are survived, so it should be true, okay? Sometimes you are not happy about that, so you want to say, I want to choose a different model. So it's actually click on that, and it's bring you to the another one. So it has 3 main category, actually 2 main category, classification and regression. There was a time series, they are working on that, which is coming soon, but these are actually general available for now. So classification can be predicting just 2 situations, or can be predicting multiple situations. For example, I'm going to general classification. So I'm choosing that one, going to the next. So after that, as you see here, it's helped me to identify which factor has more impact on survive or not. You see there's a sentence over there that low correlation with survive. So it's do some feature selection. We call it in terms of machine learning. So it's going to find which factor impact. Still, this one needs to be improved. For example, I can say when people purchase passenger class 1, that means that they pay higher. If they actually passenger class 3, that means they are pay lower. So I'm going to kind of help better, so I just remove these 2. And as you see here, it said low correlation, too many distinct value. So it's kind of help you to understand what is happening there. So I'm going to the next step. I can train it. So put a name, 2019. Here you can identify how much your language, how much your training should go for. So it can be 5 minutes to 360 minutes. Why was that? I will talk about that after I show. It's because of the different type of the algorithm is going to try on your model. So I'm just leave it for that. It's a couple of minutes, so maybe I'm not able to show the final thing. It actually says that one is going to unprocess. Yeah, it's going to be apply on my model. But if it's finished, it's actually, you will see the a report. Let me show the report that we have here that actually show you a report about that. So let me go through the report that we already have through that one. Just a minute. So it's actually create a report. So this one that I'm already created. So it's going to show you a report over that. So as you see, if I'm clicking on machine learning model, if it's finished, I have able to see the training report. So it's going to load it. Sometimes it's a bit slow and doesn't show. So if it's not, I will show the one. So let's see that. Yeah, I think so. It's a bit slow. Let me show through the the one that I have this one. So it's already I applied through that one. So after you finish, is actually is going to. Sorry. So yeah, that's a YouTube things that I'm already recorded. So. Is available there. So when you click on that, is actually is going to show you a report, and then you can apply it onto your model. So this actually always take a couple of minutes, so that's why I do that. So finally, is actually give you something like this that shows how many data set you have, how many tests going, how many error you get, and also some other kind of different parameter that we have. So you can see all of the available things. It's a numerical, how many, and some kind of the really good report. And after that, that actually you see that one, you're able, and you can back and see the data set into the Power BI desktop. So you can easily go to the Power BI desktop, connect to your data flow through here, and you're able to kind of get the data, or into Power BI desktop, you can actually access through that one. So this is my folder. There is a one that was this one, actually. And it shows you the result as a prediction here. So this is my prediction. So you will see that the prediction score and everything here. So you can see the false outcome, false, true, or other. So this is another one that we have inside Power BI. I'm talking about that. Let me show you some of the actually how that one is work. Imagine that this is not a Titanic problem. Imagine that this is a prediction for the car. So automated model that you see over there, for example, we have a problem, we want to predict the price, how much the car worth. So we have what feature we need to choose, that's a problem, what sort of algorithm we want to choose, and how we set each parameter. So for the first run, we choose an algorithm, we choose a specific data set, we get 30% accuracy. Automated ML is actually going to choose different features with a different algorithm multiple times to come up with a different, to find out which one is better. So the automated ML that you see in Power BI that I showed to you is actually, that's why it's slow, because it's going to run sometimes, for example, 100 algorithms with different parameters to find the best one. So that actually is a tools that not just for Power BI use that one, is also you can use it in SQL Server, you can use it in Databricks or other actually things. And the code for the Python is also available. So for example, in SQL Server, you can just use that Python code and use the service. So just run that one. And these are the list of the algorithm that are available and going behind the scene going to use. So as you see, for example, for classification, that was my problem. As you see here, is going to use logistic regression, gradient boosting, decision tree, k-nearest. And in the code, in the Python code, you're able to set, I don't want these algorithms be applied, or I want these algorithms. So you have to choose to actually select which algorithm you want. So this is a kind of the second things that we have inside Power BI data service. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now I'm going to show you the Power Query one. So the same feature we have in Power Query. We have the same feature inside Power Query. That is actually the announcement happened about, I was in Power Platform Orlando, so Patrick shows that one. And now actually in Ignite, again, they mention it. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to get my data. This will be available on November, just a week ago, based on what Amir says in this session. So it should be available very soon. I'm going to get my data. That was Titanic data again. And I'm going this time to the Power Query. So I'm going to transfer the data. I'm going to transfer the data. And so this is the transfer the data. Here, under the Home tab, if you look at here, if you see that on the Home tab, there is an option named AI Transformation. So these are the same thing that we have there. Just there was like an AI inside with different category. Here we have text analytics, that is part of cognitive services. I will talk about that. And also we have Azure Machine Learning. So this specification is available for premium. How is understand? Because when I click on that, okay, so it's going to actually to connect to my data flow. So it's going to connect my data flow. So in that scenario, it knows that my machine learning model already available. So this is the same. This is the same thing, just available in Power Query. So doing the same, I click in here, and hopefully is able to understand. So not, so I need to change them. So age, passenger class should be a column name. The column name is P class. The gender of the people should be a column name, and actually gender. So just going to do that. It's going to apply the changes and easily bring the prediction as a 0 and 1 here. So before that, if you want to use this feature, we need to go to the data flow, apply the changes, connect here. But now actually we don't need that. It's already for the premium capacity is available there. If you don't premium capacity, I will show you another trick inside Microsoft query that you can actually do that. But before going to show that one, let me explain about text analytics and vision. So the one that I'm talking till now was about machine learning. We learned from the data set that was about Titanic, and then actually we predict. I'm going to talk about AI. What sort of the AI things that is mainly pre-built tools we have. So let's have a look on the kind of the source of this actually feature, that is cognitive services. So if you go to the Microsoft Azure website, azure.microsoft, go to the product, go to the AI and machine learning, there is a category is cognitive services. So cognitive services is really one of my favorite tools. So we have different services for decision, for language, for speech, vision. I'm going to first show the language because we are going to work on that. I'm going to text analytics that actually Microsoft used that one. I'm going to write a sentence here. I'm from Oakland. The weather in is nice and sunny based on what I heard from my friend. So I said, analyze it. So it's actually this service doesn't show anything from background, doesn't show the Python code or whatever behind the scene, just gets input from me and provides some analyze that this is the language is English, is talking about weather and Oakland, is give me a number between 0 to 100%, that as close to 100% is means good. So in 93, that means that my sentence is positive. It's also identified the entity. I talk about Oakland. Oakland is a location, so it's able to detect what sort of the entity I have. And this is actually link entity, able to find the link through that. So this service already available in Power BI, desktop, and service. So let's see that how we can use that. I'm going to bring another data set that is about customer feedback. So I have a list about customer feedback for the hotel. There are some customers, they are going to hotel, they evaluate the data, we fetch the data from Twitter, and now we are going to use this service to analyze that. Sorry, that was a hotel one, not the customer feedback. Just too much. One. Let's see that. Oh, I think it's an Excel file, maybe. Yes, it's a hotel review. Okay, so that's a hotel review, is Excel file. I'm going, just limited number of the rows. I'm going to load it. Okay, so this is the data that I have. This is the customer feedback that I get. I wasn't made aware of extra daily cleaning, room was made, something like that. Or the other one, it's decent place to stay. So some customer happy, some not. I'm going to just keep this one and remove other column. And I'm click on text analytics. When I click on text analytics, again, it's connected to the same environment. You see the same environment happening in Power BI desktop data flow. So this time is actually, it's actually going to show me 3 different functions that are about the detect language, score sentiment, and extract the keyword. So I'm going to use this one, score sentiment, is actually ask me about the column, And the second one asks me about language. Yes, it's not just for English. It's actually support Danish, French, Spanish, and many other ones. So you should have a column that specifies this is English. If you don't know, we have a service that is detect language. So I have a client that yesterday asked me that, hey, I want first to detect the language. So first need to apply that one on the data to get a report that this is English. And then that column become a resource for this service. So for here, because it's already English and the default is English, I don't change it. If I click on that, ask me about permission, said that yes, this is public. And this public doesn't mean the public data set. That means that I'm allow Power BI to connect to the cognitive services. And I get the number. So as you see that, yep, we have a very grumpy customer. That's we get the 0.1. That means that customer not happy. We have a happy customer. That was this one, decent place, and blah, blah. So it gets 75%. If you ask me about that, this happens sometimes, customer said, yeah, the place was really good, but for example, Stefan was not friendly. These services maybe is not really, it just show 50%. If you try that one, there is another services coming that not here, named text classification, and you're able to label and train that one later. So this one is not possible to train. So you said that, yeah, I have a data set, I want to train the model. No, we couldn't do that, but the other one actually possible. We already have it in AI Builder in Power Apps. So if someone using Microsoft Power Apps, we already have there. So this is the one. The other services also the same. There's another service that we have that is for the vision. I'm just going very fast, so I'm going to just show a demo on here. That is vision. This is computer vision. And here, for example, I'm going to load the picture over here. I hope that I can find the picture very fast. I didn't put it in the material, but I will find it. So here, it should be this one. So I and Reza and a couple of friends, we just posing we happy, we were on vacation, we see a tennis ball, so we just posing. It's not a proper clothes for playing, but we're actually going there. So as you see that, the picture, able to detect all of the elements into the actually picture. Let's see that what is fine. It says that it's able to teach tennis with 99%. It is outdoor with confidence of 99. It's a rocket. It's a rocket sport. And also is able to provide a sentence for you. So Reza et al. Are posing for camera. So how is understand that this is Reza? It has another actually service that's people who are more active in social media. So it's able to detect them. So it's not able to detect me, but detect Reza. So, and it's really actually really good one. I have a customer that we are working on them. They want to use this service for the building improvement. They want to see that how much stage of the building. They put a camera and take the snapshot or video to see that how much actually improvement happened. Then can be used for that scenario. So this service already available. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to the data flow, get a data set that I have. This time, I'm going to actually load some service from there. So these are the pictures that I have stored in blob storage. So I'm going to copy them and going here at the new entity. And there is actually, because data flow is same as Power Query, you can embed your M code there. So you have an M code in Power Query, you can copy paste and bring it here. I use M code to connect to the blob storage and bring my data here. So hope actually I can find it. So as you see here, for people who work with Power Query, we have the blank query. So if I click on that, it gives me an environment for writing and pasting my M code here. So I just wrote I'm not kind of very complicated, just a a code that actually get a picture from blob storage, and then, so you can use the connector to the blob storage. I just do that because I want to show you the specification. So here I'm going to fetch the data. So go to the next step, and it's take a bit to get permission. So I said, yep, connect to that. So I think 4 times that's asked me because I put 4 times. So just very fastly I doing that. Second time and third time. Sorry about my bad coding. It's definitely a better way to do that. So here is actually, these are the picture that I'm having, blob storage. So now I'm going to apply the AI insight. That was actually same as vision here. So both of them do the same thing. So it's going to use the actually that image tagging. So I import the image and is able to actually extract what in the image has, same as the one that I showed to you into cognitive services. So again, I should image. I don't know why the language happened here. I don't know really. It's not a text, but yeah. So just going to apply. Maybe for the output, never tried that one. So here is going to apply. And it's take a couple of, so it's give me back a record. And the records contain the what is found in the picture with a confidence. So as a JSON code, so you can just easily expand them to see them here. So when I talked to the team, they said that more features coming from that. So as you see here, is able to detect, for example, in the first picture, what we have, in the second picture, what we have from here. There is a thing. So Power BI team is actually use the cognitive services to or machine learning models. So they are in touch between other teams. So it's happened that they embedded one of the feature from there, and actually the cognitive service team still is kind of generate, for example, version 2 or 4. So they are sometimes maybe a bit back from that version, but they will be updated. Okay, so these are the kind of the functionality available through that. I'm going to actually the last one, that is about that how we can actually, in some scenarios you want to don't use the premium to connect to your Azure Machine Learning, or you have your own R and Python code and you want to bring into the Power Query and do data transformation. So what's the solution for them? For the Python, for example, you have a code in Python. First, you should have a Python in your machine. Then you need to install the packages that you're using. So for the people who work with, I'm not a Python programmer, I'm mainly R programmer, but I use Python for TensorFlow and the other. So you need to install some of the packages here, and then connection between them and write the query. So let's have a look through my other actually machine. So here is actually, I'm going to the Power Query. So this is the code that I have. So I have the same data set. Let me enable the zoom in here. Okay. I love zoom it. That's really, actually really good one. So these are the model that I have. So I have the survive, I have passenger class, gender, and age of the people here. So what I did actually, I just kind of removed the null value from the age column I have. Also, I replaced the gender of the people with 0 and 1. In the next step, I'm going to the transform. Under the transform here, actually, if you go to the transform, at the end, you see that we have a run Python script. So this is a place that you can paste your code here. The code that you have in Python shouldn't generate a visualization in Power Query. It doesn't show. It's not for visualization at all. If you want visualization, you need to back to the report. So this here is just for applying transformation. People who use this one, I'm already recommend to not use data transformation using Python language. Do all of data transformation using Power BI, then for part of the machine learning, use that. So let's see that what we have here. I'm just double click here. So when I actually click on that, it shows me a editor. So this is a Python editor. It's not a fancy one, of course, but it's an editor that you can put your code. There is a first sentence here that is actually put the sharp. So sharp in Python means comment, that data sets actually store my data. So all of the data that I'm having Power Query in that query, this one, has been stored into the variable data set. Data set variable is a connection between my code and Power Query code. And data set is a data frame. So in Power BI, in R and Python, to the table we call data frame. So just a different name. So we call table as a data frame. Also we have other like list, vector, and the other, but they are not recognizable by Power BI. Power BI, because it's based on table, just know the data frame, doesn't know anything else. So here I wrote some code, don't worry about the code, just get the data set, I split the data, use a function to classifier, and then as you see, for the output, I generate the output and I convert it to the data frame. If you want to see the data set, you should convert it to the data frame. Then I push the OK. So it's going to connect to my R. So I should have an R in machine or in the server so they can talk to each other. So as a result, I get bunch of data sets. I get data set, that was my initial input. I get DF output, that was my output that holds the prediction. I have another one, my training data set, test data set. So you can extract everything from Python here. I just interested on the output, so I just right click here and I said add as a query. So it's going to add as a query here. This is my prediction, okay? So you can kind of bring all of them, join them, and everything you can do here. So this is the one. The another thing that we can do that is, so imagine that now in the second scenario, I don't want to use Python. I already create a model using Azure Machine Learning Services or Azure Machine Learning Studio. I want to bring it here. In the data flow, you see that we have that AI inside that connected. Imagine that we don't have premium and we want to do that here. It's a bit, I'm not saying that bad, it needs some coding, but sometimes because the R version and Python version kind of mismatched updates, so it needs some taking care about that, but it's possible. So this is my data set. I want to predict that people survive or not. So again, this time I just show a R code, so I kind of click on the R. What I did actually, this is my model that I'm created. Let me show you that one first to see that what I'm actually get that. So first of all, I need to go to the model. I just use the Studio Azure Machine Learning free one to show you. So I'm going there, signing with my Gmail account. And then, yes, so, yeah. It's going. So this is my free environment. In the free environment, there is actually a workspace ID and authentication ID. It's actually where you see on your environment that they are located here. So if you go to the setting, we have a workspace ID. So this is a workspace ID that we have, so I need that one. Another authentication that I need is authorization token. So it's a long token here. Also, I need this one. Beside that, I'm already created a web service. So I need the name of the web service here, which is this one. So this is 3 elements I need there. The rest is a simple R code that I use to connect and consume that. So this is my workspace ID, authentication, and the web service name. The R code that I write it here is just for connection to the Azure ML. It's not the only way. You can use M, Power Query, and the other to connect to the Azure environment, which is a bit more complex. This is, for me, is easier because I know R and just 4 line of code, so I use that one. So here there is a package in R named Azure ML. So I'm already installed that one. I call it. In that Azure ML, there is a function named workspace that get workspace ID and token from the environment, connect to that one. Then there is a service named consume that apply the data set for the service. So these are the service that I have. This is my data that I already have. And we see that how it happened. So I'm going to push the OK very fast, not always that much fast. So I say, yep, just show me the result. So it's going to connect to the Azure Machine Learning Studio. And if you see, it just gives me a score label that is prediction. And this is probability of that one. So this is the second way. So you see both ways. You see that how you can use premium. So to be honest, this one, for example, today doesn't work in this machine. Sometimes you update your R or Python package management problem. This way is not trustable that much always, but the other one you don't care about. You just create model there and you easily. So that's the pros and cons you have. And also, there is another thing is that running R and Python is a bit slower Power Query. So maybe using the Azure one that already exists may be a better option. So do the kind of the same thing you can apply. So just back to the other environment. So before actually I'm going to wrap it up, I already put all of the kind of the blog posts. I wrote about everything you see here. I had a blog post, blog series about that, YouTube, so everything you can go and after the course, you can kind of check that one. Also about other things. So if you have any question after that, you can go through that or just ask me now. Any question now that we can go through that question? Yes?
I have a Power BI Pro version.
Pro version, okay.
So am I limited on to have access to the cognitive services or what are my options?
So I repeat the question for the recording. So asking that what is, if we have a pro and what's happened? Can we use that cognitive services and the other? Unfortunately, that one is for premium. But there is a way to use that one. I didn't show here, but let me very fast show you that one. If you go, actually, there is a, using the M language. Just let me bring that one. So, yep. So, you can actually, you can set it up your cognitive services yourself. So you're going to the cognitive service website and you get a key and the URL from there. So then you're responsible for paying the cost. Then there is a code here actually that you see, this is the M code that I can use that one to connect to the web service. So that's a good point because people said, so what's the difference? So if the cognitive services cost in premium already included. So you don't need to pay that one. But for this one, for first 5,000 rows in the month is free, but more than you should pay actually. So it's kind of the, again, using premium means less administration, very straightforward, but using pro or free one is always a bit challenging to code. Okay. Any other question? Yes? Okay, thank you. The question is that, how about OCR? Yes, in cognitive services, we have an OCR application that you're able to take a picture from, for example, from a form or from a picture here, and is able actually to extract the text, and you can work on that. Unfortunately, still in Power BI not, but in Power Apps we have it. So I think in the next step, they're going to bring it because that's one of the, for example, I have a scenario that I'm using for the card reader, for the business card reader. So in these conferences, you meet a lot of people. You just need to scan. That one will be available soon, but not in this version yet. Any other question? Yes?
When you're using Python, there is a couple of libraries that doesn't work in the cloud. There is
Oh yeah, that's a question is that there are some of the libraries in Python that is not available there. So the thing is that when we have we use the R and Python in Power Query, there we may use different libraries in R or Python. So in Power BI desktop is okay because we already have that services. But when you publish it to the web, there is a problem that maybe some of them not working because some of the servers support some of the packages. For example, for R, so I said Power BI R Visual Service. So, no, sorry, Power BI R packages, sorry. So there is a link that actually I always kind of search through that. This is for R. For Python, I need to check that is it available. I never, to be honest, never have scenarios to do that. Let me see that if we have the libraries here. Never check that one. I can check that one for you. But for R, we already have that one. And this list is actually really good. For example, about 2 years ago, we don't have leaflet package. That was the package we're using for creating the map. They bring it, as you see, they bring it, the leaf S3 and the other. Or we have Shiny here. We don't have Shiny before, but we have it. So they update it. They have an R server in the cloud that do that. For Python, let me, after the session, I can check it and let you know. But yes, it's possible that not all of the packages supported yet because they provide Python access in 2018. For the R was 2015, so that's have more packages to support. Need to check that one. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, so that's the kind of the things that you can do. Tomorrow I have another session. On that session, I'm going to talk about some of the visualization capability that BI people can use them, but they are specific for the analyst. So I'm going through maybe you attend some of the Power BI remote map. So I'm going through them and the features that we have. Thanks so much for coming. And if you have any question, I'm around. And just stop me and ask me a question. I'm more than happy to answer. Thanks so much. Have a good day.